Iron Man, no, I wish. Ironheart 9, A Lesson in Failure, or Why Women Can't Have Breasts. Hashtag Black Girls Have Boobs. Ironheart 9 is the death of the comic book industry. What do you mean, Bianca? Is it SJW cancer? No, it's nothing. Remember the nothing in the never-ending story? That's it. I guess it's vaguely racist because it has no diversity, but at this point, it doesn't matter. Please guess how many issues it sold. Keep in mind that Iron Man was a super hot property in the MCU. 10,000 issues. It shipped 10,000 issues. In a country of 1/3 billion, this Iron Man Wakanda crossover, two of the biggest Marvel films, sold 10,000 issues. I would almost feel bad for Marvel, except that they did it to themselves. This comic is milquetoast. And yes, I spelled that correctly. The two girls who star in it are perfect in every way. It's an entirely new concept in comic storytelling, where the characters are completely flat and one-dimensional. Another odd thing about the two girls is that they look alike, the exact same skin shade, because if one was darker, it would be racist. Then they have the same androgynous bodies, breastless and buttless, zero sex appeal, because that would be sexist. Sexy art supports the patriarchy, or something? So the comic isn't for boys, and it's not for Euro, Latino, or anyone else. It's for black girls. Girls in general do not buy comics. Need proof? The proof is it sold 10,000 copies, or shipped 10,000 copies. How many it sold? We'll never know. I have a feeling it sells big with college lesbians who hate their parents. They may buy it, but I guarantee that they aren't reading it. Reading it wasn't painful like SJW comics. This is more of a paint-by-the-numbers NPC comic, and there is a difference between SJW and NPC. NPC comics are absolute vanilla. The only reason it is being produced is for virtue signaling. It's an all-black comic with two women who never fail. Well, let me tell you a little bit about storytelling. When the protagonist is flawless, it's boring. There's no tension of conflict and no resolution, because the two black girls can never fail. If they fail, the 12 angry sociopaths on Twitter will call them racist and sexist. Think back to your favorite characters. They had flaws that they had to overcome. Tension and resolution are integral to a story. When there are no weaknesses, there can be no tension. And when you see a female lead or a privileged class like African or Middle Eastern, you know the story will be dull as hell. The protagonist will go from success to success. This isn't a comic, it's a purse puppy. If the writer wanted to transition into writing romance novels, she would be perfect for it. Where the protagonist's only problem is her boobs are too perky and she is too slim and beautiful. Yes, I have read romance novels. The history of Riri is she's a sociopathic thieving scumbag who steals a suit that a genius built. Then she invaded a country and enslaved it because SJWs have power fantasies. If you have a woman in a comic, she's going to be brilliant. If it's a black girl, she will be a genius, like Stephen Hawking's level genius. Are girls and women known for being STEM geniuses? No. Go sit in a STEM class. It's 95% men. But reality isn't allowed in their safe spaces. So on the first page, they remind you how Riri is better in every way to Tony Stark. She modified the suit and improved it because she's a high school kid, and Tony Stark probably has a PhD in physics, but whatever. The point is to show you that black girl good, outdated Spanish man bad. I always assumed Tony Stark was Spanish or Italian or something. You know, those hot-blooded people. So she's talking to the her artificial robot construct. Gotta say I love the name of the new suit. Thanks. I've been making some modifications. Added some new solar cells, amped up the repulsor ray range too. Wow, you almost could have built your own suit instead of stealing it. Huh? Could have just built your own suit. Didn't need to steal this. So it's constant affirmations, just basically jerking each other off. Anyway, let's see. Where does she meet Shuri? Oh, she flies over the city and she's in tears because she's flying over a city. Wakanda's capital city. She's crying. What was that sniffle? Are you crying? I've never seen something like this before. A city? In Africa. They're not that unusual. there are cities in Africa. What do you? This is just a city. I don't understand. Africa's a huge place. There are tons of cities, and they're all different. There are European-style cities and African-style cities and Arab-influenced cities. Weird. Very, very, very weird. Okay, so they meet each other. Oh, okay, they meet each other. And Shuri, who is a brilliant inventor and occasional Black Panther, because that's such a demand that people want to see a female Black Panther, except they don't. They want to see the Black Panther, who's actually the Black Panther. Because not only are European men getting cucked by Marvel, but African men are also getting screwed. The two girls meet, but they have exactly the same skin tone and exactly the same body. Hey Marvel, women have breasts. Yes, even teenage girls have breasts. Then, because the story has zero tension, they have to carefully shoehorn in a fake tension scene. The two girls meet, they rub each other the wrong way, and essentially argue over nothing. Because a real disagreement might put one character on the wrong side of the argument. And the writers simply cannot write a black or female character with flaws. It's just haram. They also take every opportunity to humble brag and blow smoke up each other's ass about their accomplishments. So they're telling the reader they have a history of effortlessly winning against every challenge, and thus this challenge will also be easy. Something odd I noticed about the People's Republic of Wakanda is that it's an ethno-state with zero diversity. Another odd thing about Wakanda is that they all have the exact same lighter skin tones. There are no variations allowed. It's kind of creepy once you start to notice this stuff. Not only are there no other races in Wakanda, but they are all exactly the same shade. Imagine being so woke that you become racist. You know, you guys are allowed to show variations in color. Why are SJWs so afraid of diversity? This is pretty much the comic right here. The two girls being fabulous. This is it. This is just, you can just read this one panel. You've read the comic. They just effortlessly battle whatever comes their way. I think she even manages to fix the plate tectonics by sealing up an earth fissure with a laser beam, because that's possible. It seems like the comic is 99% female. You know, the people who don't buy comics, girls and women, they actually don't buy comics. But again, that's why it sells 10,000 issues. I assume people see the cover and buy it by mistake. They think, oh, it's Black Panther and Iron Man or something similar. Then they buy it, they read it, and realize they bought garbage. Oh, and of course, they take a jab at America and its admittedly stubborn refusal to adopt the metric system. But those Americans built a spaceship that put a man on the moon, and the rest of the world hasn't, but, you know, whatever. And, yeah, I know NASA used the metric system. But at the end of the story, another character is introduced who is also a clone of them. Don't they call this in comic book art twinning, when you have two characters and they have the same body shape and they're next to each other on the page and in the same body position? It just looks a little bit cheesy. Well, what is it? This is tripling down. They're tripling down on garbage. So what are the odds she's also going to be a genius? What else do you notice about this character? What's that? You know, black girls, black women, they have breasts. It's not an actual requirement that to be a female superhero, you must be a B cup. What are the odds that all three characters are all the same height, weight, and breastless? I wonder if they had one girl with boobs, then she would be considered the hot chick, maybe? And the other girls would pale in comparison, no pun intended. But Marvel isn't allowed to have hot chicks because it attracts the male gaze. That's the term the cultural Marxists invented to stop people from getting married and making babies, and thus replace them with third worlders, because third worlders are easier to control. But I digress. Shall we take a Deadpool on when this comic gets canceled? Does it have 3 more issues? Can it make a full year? At what point does Marvel cancel it out of shame? Of course, when it gets canceled, it'll just get rebooted for a 6-issue miniseries, then rebooted for a 4-issue, because Marvel doesn't give up on a bad concept. Marvel knows what you want, and they refuse to. At first I wrote give it to you, and then I crossed that out and put sell it to you. They refuse to sell it to you and make a profit, because we were always at war with Oceania. Because Marvel knows better than you what you need. Their narrative is that girls love STEM and girls buy comics, neither one of which is true. See, it's impossible to address the change in comics without discussing cultural Marxism, because companies aren't in the business to lose money, but they're not concerned about losing money. They're concerned about propaganda. This is a comic book written by someone who has never read a comic book and doesn't understand the art of storytelling. Conflict, tension, resolution. You can't simply have them go from success to success to success. That's a child's concept. Oh, hey, look, 2 breastless girls. Of course, two breastless girls. Hey, look. She doesn't have the mammary glands that give life. You know, they say these people are standing on the shoulders of giants. Oh, come on, dog. Yeah, they're standing under the feet of giants, and they're digging. They're just digging for the bottom. They just try to outdo each other. To have a Marvel comic that sells, I don't know exactly how many issues it sells, but the ones before it were selling 11,000, and they kept on dipping. So by issue 9, it's probably down to 10,000. That's not a mainstream comic shouldn't be selling 10,000 issues. It should be canceled. I don't even know what it opened at. I think it opened at like over 20,000. That's not a good opening either. Anyway, this is just dumb. It's really dumb. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode.